and here we are again and have no time to lose. So please welcome our two moderators for the very next session, the High North scenario sessions, Professor Anatoly Burmistrov and Associate Professor Elena Dübsener. Elena, Anatoly, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, dear participants. Good day, good evening to all participants of the High North Dialogue. It's a pleasure for us to be here, and also we are very happy to introduce you to the future of the High North, developed by the future leaders. This year we have 56 different students from 11 countries that has been participating in this exercise. So, Anatoly, we have been organizing this scenario workshop for several years, right? And I do like to cooperate with you, of course. But I was also thinking maybe we can share with our participants actually, why do you think we teach master and PhD students this methodology with the relevance for the High North?
Thank you for this question, Elena. I would say that we have a world with a lot of uncertainties, a lot of turbulence. And I think it's very dangerous to think that we can hide from those uncertainties, that we shouldn't address the turbulence. As we have heard today many times, the Arctic is changing, quicker than ever before. So we need to address those uncertainties. And I am a professor at a business school, and unfortunately I should admit that sometimes we pay too much attention to teach students use the tools which actually reinforce this notion of predictability. I think this is kind of a paradox. The paradox is then the more unpredictable the future actually becomes, the more important is actually to strengthen our ability to long-term planning, to invest time into the efforts, to know the methodology which will allow us actually to understand what the plausible future might be. If you look at the back to discussion at this conference, I think many of you noticed that, and we all of you know that uncertainties are great regarding how the High North might be developing, with a lot of complex issues and the different ways so we can define potential solution to existing and potential future problems. And I think one thing which I think was a very nice introduction to this panel, one thing which I think might be which can secure sustainable development of the High North was discussion of the smart cities. And this is actually what we ask students to do this year, to think about smart cities in the High North.
Thank you, Anatoly. Right, we see that actually scenarios are important for looking forward, and especially for the Arctic. But what scenarios can actually do?
Well, you can think about scenario planning as a series of thought experiments. We ask students to think the unthinkable, but also think about different type of driving forces, how they could shape the future potential of the smart cities in the High North. And think about this is 2040. It's 19 years from now. So this is kind of a very ambitious task. And many people would say that, what are the scenarios? Yeah, is it a kind of wishy-washiness? Is it kind of wishful thinking? Is it kind of a fairy tale stories? Or is it a horror stories to scare? So what? But I think there's a big difference. And you need to know that scenarios, they're based on rigor methodology. There is a systematic way of thinking about how the future might unfold. And actually we start with asking students to kind of describe different factors, different trends. We talk about, in a scientific way, about assumptions, factors which we claim to be uncertainties, also wildcards, those events with low probability but huge impact. And then we try to put them together into cause and effect kind of linkages, the paths, how those factors can actually unveil themselves towards the different types of potential future. And if we do that, I think we can do at least three things. There are many things scenarios can be useful for, but I think there are three things which are essential. The first one is increased improved knowledge. Just imagine that students in this course, they have been doing readings for several months now, a lot of literature about smart cities. There are not so many smart cities in the high north yet. So where we learn it, it's from smart cities other places around the world. There are failure stories, there are success stories. They have been learning about high north, about the potential problems and potential solutions, the challenges we are facing. And also, of course, they have been learning a lot about the methodology itself, so how to do it in a proper way. And just think about, we ask them together to discuss this issue during this 1 week exercise of the workshop. So I'm sure they have been pretty much learned about each issue particular, but also put them together in order to understand what would be the complexity of issues involved. The second issue is about the preparedness. I call it preparedness function of scenarios, because each scenario, its ambition to be a picture, and then you put it like in this library on the shelf and probably never pick up until it's too late. So the question is impact assessment. We need to try to understand if the future will be like this, what will be impact for our organization, for the decisions. So we need to understand what kind of different measures we can put together in order to prepare ourselves for the future. So I think information from scenarios can be useful to maximize set of measures actually could be put together in order to bring desired futures, and of course some of them would reduce unwanted futures. And then finally, I think scenarios are also helpful in order to create competitive advantage, because if you think about those who use scenarios in order to understand the development, I think they can outperform those organizations and individuals who do not. And my own research, actually, I'm noticing that many more organizations are actually trying to implement scenarios in their everyday life, and I think this is also very important.
Thank you, Anatoly. Got it. It was actually very, you made it very kind of short and precise to tell to the audience what we've been actually working for so many years already. But this was about the methodology and, of course, what are the issues that we discovered here and what the students have been preparing. But actually, and as I already said, we had like around 50 students from 11 countries. How we actually made it happen that these students were developing scenarios?
As we have it, there are 2 courses, one for master students and one for PhD students. I'm very happy that even though scenarios could be looked at as a exercise for everyone, it still attracts attention of many. I think if I'm correct, it's 56 students exactly, and from I think 12 countries. Because if I start counting and saying where I come from, it's Bangladesh, China, France, Germany, Iran, Nepal, Norway, Philippines, Russia, Slovakia, Ukraine, United States. So what we actually done, we have divided students into the 9 international and also what we call interdisciplinary teams, try to mix them together in a way that there is a theory behind scenarios that the quality of scenarios improves the more diversified the teams are. So after that, they have been doing readings, and then we actually ask students to prepare for the scenarios. No free rider, no free of charge lunch. You need to be prepared, and the students have actually produced individuals memos for describing the trends and factors way individually think will be important. Because this knowledge they brought to the High North dialogue, and because everything was done digitally today, so for about 1 week they have a series of meetings when they discuss different scenarios in their groups. So the task for the student groups this year was to develop 3 scenarios for the development of smart cities in the High North till 2040, and to map implications of those scenarios for a particular sector related to the smart cities. And we talk about 9 sectors or elements of smart cities. It's mobility, energy, governance, communication, consumption, industry, competencies, climate, and ocean. So these meetings actually culminated on this Tuesday when the students actually met the jury and presented their scenarios to the jury, and jury voted for different type of scenarios, ranking them. And the jury members were Silje Munkvold from Bodø municipality, and you know that we are in the Bodø city, a great city in the high north with ambitions to become the smartest city in the world. Dr. Roman Vokulchuk from Norwegian Institute of International Affairs, NUPI, who is an expert in scenario methodology. And then Ariel Tjomsland, chairman of the board at the company Kobla Limited, a company that develops smart digital solutions for mobility here in the high north. And of course, it was me in academic capacity and you, Lena, as a moderator. And we know that jury have evaluated scenarios and ranked the group performance, and I should say that it was great performance of all groups. Students have been showing creativity, ability to think out of the box. We were impressed by what they have achieved. But of course, someone did better than the others, and you know, we have some groups who deserve a little bit attention in this event.
Thank you, Anatoly. It was really, and it was a very interesting exercise and very exciting for all of us to participate. And with these words, I would like to give the floor to Leonid Surguchov, the Managing Director of Lukoil Overseas North Shelf, who will present and announce the winning team in this scenario workshop this year.
Thank you, Elena and Anatoly. It's really a pleasure to be with you at this conference. And I want to congratulate Frode Mellenvik, first of all, for enormous effort to organize this event and fantastic conference and his contribution. Lukoil is the largest private company in Russia and second energy company in Russia. And we operate very internationally. We have activities in almost 40 countries. And we do energy, we do renewable energy, we have wind farms in Europe, we have solar systems in Europe and in Russia, our petrochemical plants. And we are interested in developing activities in the north and Norwegian-Russian cooperation. We have an investment program with Murmansk region and investing in the Murmansk area. We have a terminal, Varanday terminal in the Arctic, operating in the Barents Sea of the in the Russian sector. And we are cooperating with Norwegian energy companies in the Barents Sea, exploring in the former disputed area. So we committed to cooperation in the north and are pleased to support this program by the High North Center. And we are looking to see very talented people coming from this program. And what I would like to say that the jury has come up with the following finalists in the scenario workshop. And these teams are Group A, Group C, and Group G. And from Lukoil, I want to say, in addition to the prize for the #1 winner, we published a special edition of the book, The Northern Sea Route and the Development of the Russian Arctic, in cooperation with the Fram Museum in Oslo. And all the finalists of this workshop will get from us this book. And I invite also to visit the Fram Museum and our permanent exposition in the Fram Museum dedicated to the history of exploration and development of the North Sea route. And I'm pleased to announce the winner. The winner is Group A, consisting of the students from the Moscow MGIMO University, Nord University, Kyiv National University, and Chinese ECNU. And the participants in the team are Port Andres Mulstad, Ingvild Saltnes Johannes, Matilda Roland Fjelde, Anastasia Kolsenikova, Pangxin Liu, and Zwang Zwe. Congratulations. to the winners.
And now we would like to show the video presentation made by the winning group. Thank you.
We are Group A, and we are going to present 3 scenarios which are connected to competencies. And the first one is Gold Route, and it focuses on how the High North will benefit from the continuing of using oil and gas to the extent we are today. The second is cyber location, which has a focus on how we can work from all over the world, bringing our competences to new locations through digitalization. The last scenario is transition seesaw, which has a focus on human capital flows into the digital e-world. We are going to present some scenarios with assumptions and necessities.
The assumptions that we are using are digitalization, climate change, civil participation, urbanization. The uncertainties are energy transition, population acceptance, infrastructure, global climate regime, social equity, demography, governmental policies, international relations, and increase in oil and gas industry. The wildcards are oil spill, decline in relation, hackers, and alien invasion. The scenario Gold Route presuppose high demand for oil and gas, which leads to increased activity related to the sector in the High North. As a result, new high-skilled workplace relations to the industry appear, and the skilled laborers move in from other parts of the country, and the North Sea route will become economically available. The industries that will have increased importance in this scenario, oil and gas and shipping, are in alignment with the existing trends of urbanization. For oil and gas, we believe centralization onshore offices will be created in cities in the High North, and trading activities rely on infrastructures, harbors, and railways that are mainly found in the bigger cities as of now. In this scenario, the trends of urbanization will therefore continue and accelerate.
We see the Northern Sea route as a possibility that can benefit the countries that have access to it through shipping and trade. The development of oil and gas, high demand for oil and gas, and global pollution are all relevant for the Northern Sea route and our scenario. The municipality or city that gets an increase in income and will use the money on things such as better and broader education that will attract young and bright minds to the city and municipality.
This will make it so that it is a place of great learning and sharing of knowledge, both in the traditional sense with university and higher education, but also from other sources of apprenticeship and internship. By using this shipping route and combining it with more digitalization, we can make it so that it's easier to transport goods across the world and sharing of knowledge. Digitalization of the workforce related to the oil and gas industry will increase. This is enhanced by the difficulty of working in the Arctic and attempting to reduce risk in the workplace, and the general trend in the oil and gas industry toward digitalization. We see that a lot of the actual labor that is being done when it comes from the oil and gas industry has been digitalized already, and because it is easier and makes the process more effective.
Even though the oil and gas industry will be as important in the next coming years and up to 2040, there will not be a great increase in the number of workplaces in the oil and gas industry due to the digitalized labor and the reduced number of required workplaces. This is something that the Northern Sea route and the new jobs and industries that comes with it can help with, and it will make the High North more attractive for workers. In this scenario, the global climate regime is quite weak, not effective in combating climate change in the short to medium term. But due to the ever-pressing issue of climate change getting worse, we can expect that an increased focus on the issue will arise over time, and implementation of the solutions in the High North, such as carbon storage and development of renewables, will appear closer to 2040. The energy transition will happen later than what the other models predict, but it will still happen.
The next scenario is cyber location, the trigger of digitalization and creating new competencies. Today, people are living in a world of developing of infrastructure in transport industry, gradually implementing digital solution in all of the stages of IT transformation. However, the major trigger of the rush and immediate digital boom turned out to be a pandemic. Due to a COVID-19 crisis, citizens, governments, and organizations have to use internet communication to cooperate, remaining without a choice. The result is next. Population is becoming less dependent on the location. There are myriad of data and Internet of Things helping population to deal with a wide range of tasks, beginning from the domestic chores till finishing managing the political issues. Digitalization leads to creating opportunities for educating new, competent, and successful generation under cutting edge and smart technologies.
And then we have climate change, and especially in the development of industries related to renewable energy. In the high north, we find a lot of cheap energy, which competent companies like tech companies uses to see new possibilities and opportunities. A new focus area, which has become more important connected to the digitalization, is data storage. Data storage grows exceptionally, and in the high north, like in Norway, because it's a good place to store all the hardware. With the increasing quantity of connecting devices, this is a good business, which companies pay a lot for. We also have civil participation. People are moving from one country in the high north to another. This is based on the possibilities and opportunities to do research and work in the high north. There is no end to the need of knowledge, and huge areas of nature and ocean are affected by what's happening in the world. New challenges and opportunities appear, and that's why a good collaboration between high north countries increases when people are moving and sharing their experience and knowledge.
This is supported by urbanization, a combination of digitalization and location independent surface a racer for urbanization process. Independence in terms of relocating creates new competences aimed to establish equality between rural and urban area. A mixed effect on digitalization, urbanization, and COVID-19 crisis of the economic development. Hence, competences of the region's periphery are changing in completely different nature and influence our bright future.
Scenario number 3, the transition seesaw. The education system may not adapt to the needs of social development and cultivate enough number of ICT experts. However, international relations will improve and globalization will accelerate in the future. The digitization provides means for people to cooperate cross-culturally in many fields, including supporting digitization in high north further. However, the pursuit of social equity may prevent the unemployment caused by digitization. There are still people doing jobs that could be replaced by robots. Climate change is a global problem and requires individual efforts at the bottom. Governments may issue various policies to deal with it, and one of them could be imprinting the ideology of environmentalism in citizens' mind. So people internalize the impact on the environment into their daily and business decision-taking processes.
To successfully develop smart cities, governments needed the cooperation from citizens. Governments could launch campaigns to promote the idea of smart city and training programs to help people develop necessary skills and knowledge to adapt to a smart world. As renewables become the main sources of energy, there would be more talents in renewable energy industry and less in traditional fossil fuel industry. This will be the trend for all the world and certainly for the high north area. As the process of urbanization accelerates, more and more people move into the cities in big swarms. More people will be contributing to developed cities. The sense of social influence, pluralistic ignorance in climate change, social factors play key roles in human behavior. Individuals tend to underestimate how much others worry about the climate change. This may inhibit them from taking collective climate action. Okay, next. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Those were the winners of the High North Scenarios workshop of 2021. I have not won it yet. I wonder what I have to do to win it. Frode? I need to work much. I started very early this morning to host the moderator session at 8:30, so I'm hungry. I don't know what about you. We'll take a break now for 55 minutes, be back at noon sharp. Until then, follow the High North News and the High North Dialogue online, and see you soon in 55 minutes from now. Bon appétit!